Stop everything, because what I'm about to drop on your timeline is the kind of family sheetering, Donats flipping, group chat texts, loading chaos that even the Braxtons couldn't auto-tune their way out of. Allegedly, supposedly, according to every bored internet detective with a cracked iPhone and too much free time. Michael Braxton may have just revealed the one truth the family spent decades burying under wigs. Whispers and reality TV reruns. Ashley's real mother. Yes, you heard me. And the moment this truth leaked, Towanda didn't just react, she erupted. She went off harder than Tamar on a mic set too low volume, unleashing a Category 10 emotional hurricane so wild it could have shut down WeTV My Deep-isode. But here's the real question. Why now? Why her? And who exactly has been lying all this time? Because this wasn't a slip-up. This felt like a generational plot twist. A scandal soaked in secrecy, contradictions, and birth certificates that look like they've been edited more times than a Hollywood script. And if this revelation is true, then Ashley might not be who she thinks she is. And the Braxton family tree may need an entirely new branch. Buckle up, because the truth is messier than ever. The scandal begins in a way no one expected. Not even the people who have spent years dissecting every move the Braxton family makes. This time, the rumors didn't start from a shady tweet, a blurry screenshot, or a fan theory created at 2 in the morning. This time, the spark came from inside the family itself, from a moment so small and so quietly spoken that most people would have missed it. If the internet didn't have a talent for turning whispers into wildfire, it all started when Michael casually mentioned something about Ashley's real mother. A comment that sounded too offhand, too lightly tossed into the air, too relaxed for something this explosive. Yet somehow it was powerful enough to send the entire fan base into chaos. And in the middle of that chaos stood Towanda, the sister known for her calm, collected presence. A woman who has survived years of family tension with a face so composed it could win awards. But this time she didn't stay composed. The moment Michael's words hit the air, Towanda lost control in a way that felt less like anger and more like fear, mixed with frustration. The kind of reaction someone has when a truth they've been trying to contain suddenly slips through their fingers. What made it even stranger was Ashley herself. She has always been the quiet, almost invisible figure on the outskirts of the Braxton story. The family member who rarely appeared on camera, rarely showed up in photos, and rarely came up in conversations. Almost as if she lived behind a curtain the rest of the family kept tightly closed. Fans had wondered about her absence for years. But the family always brushed questions aside with polite smiles that now feel suspicious in hindsight. And once Michael hinted at the possibility of a different mother, everything that once seemed mysterious suddenly appeared intentional. Fans immediately began digging through old interviews, old clips, and old statements from Ashley about timelines that never made sense and childhood details she never fully understood. It became obvious she carried a mixture of confusion and pain. As if she always sensed something in her story didn't align but didn't know how to fix it. And through all of this, Towanda's reaction remained the biggest red flag. She didn't respond like someone hearing a lie. She responded like someone watching a locked door burst open. Someone who knew that once the public starts digging, there is no stopping them. And the internet is relentless. Within hours, people were comparing photos, analyzing family timelines, and questioning why Ashley's name, face, and existence were kept so far from the public image of the Braxton family. Every clue pointed toward long-buried secrets, and the more people examined the pieces, the clearer it became that the truth was never supposed to come out like this. Not from a small slip out of Michael's mouth that looked tiny on the surface, but massive. Underneath, once the first wave of shock passed, the scandal took on a life of its own. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about what Michael said. It became about everything that had been quietly brewing behind the scenes for years. Anonymous sources started popping up online with claims that sounded too detailed to ignore. They spoke of closed-door conversations, hidden documents, late-night arguments that hinted at a truth the family never wanted to face publicly. One source claimed that years ago there was an attempt to alter certain family records involving Ashley. an attempt that hit obstacles and created tension between multiple family members. Another person, claiming to be a distant acquaintance, insisted that the timeline of Ashley's childhood never matched the public version and that several events were intentionally blurred to avoid uncomfortable questions. People also pointed out how Ashley always spoke about her childhood with a strange mixture of clarity and confusion, as if she remembered everything vividly, but the explanations she was given never quite fit. That confusion now looked less like emotional struggle and more like someone given a story patched together at the last minute. The alleged leaked findings became even wilder as fans unearthed old court filings and property records, showing unexpected overlaps between households, financial support structures that seemed oddly arranged, and caretaking roles shifting in ways that aligned more with the theory that Ashley's biological mother wasn't who the public was told. Meanwhile, social media erupted when an anonymous insider claimed Michael had been warned years ago not to speak publicly about Ashley's origins because of a private agreement made within the family. According to this source, the agreement was meant to protect the reputation of someone who wasn't ready for the fallout that the truth would bring. As soon as this surfaced, people started pointing fingers at Towanda, especially considering how fast and intensely she reacted to Michael's words. Theories multiplied when old clips resurfaced, showing her avoiding family history questions, forcing polite smiles whenever Ashley was mentioned, or changing subjects when timelines were brought up. Fans no longer saw those moments as harmless. They saw them as signs of a carefully maintained barrier hiding a long-buried truth. More dramatic rumors followed, including claims that an old family friend once overheard a heated argument about who had the right to raise Ashley, and why her real parentage had to stay secret to protect the family's public image. By this point, the story had evolved far beyond a single comment. It had become a full-scale investigation powered not by solid evidence but by glaring gaps in the official story. Gaps fans filled with theories that suddenly made more sense than the carefully curated version. The family had always presented that as the story kept spreading, the situation escalated past simple speculation and reached a point where the fallout felt almost unavoidable. Once the public begins questioning the honesty of a family that spent years in the spotlight, every silence, every hesitation, and every carefully chosen statement becomes fuel for bigger theories. In this case, those theories gathered momentum until people started discussing legal consequences. Questions emerged about whether any paperwork had been altered illegally, or whether guardianship decisions in Ashley's past involved actions that didn't follow the usual process. Some online commentators insisted attorneys were already reviewing records, while others claimed government agencies might get involved if the allegations grew louder. None of this was confirmed, but the sheer volume of speculation created a sense of panic. A feeling that whatever had been hidden for so long could no longer be contained now that thousands of strangers were combing through every trace of the family's history. Public backlash intensified as fans split into groups, with some defending the family and arguing that outsiders were twisting the narrative for drama, while others insisted the secrecy itself was proof something deeper was being concealed. Financial rumors also followed, people speculating that the family might face strain if investigations moved forward or if private agreements were exposed. There were even discussions about potential resignations from public roles or charity boards if the controversy escalated. Meanwhile, the emotional impact on Ashley took center stage. Audiences debated how much of her life had been shaped by decisions she had no control over. Some argued she'd been silenced for years under heavy expectations, while others believed she'd been guided into accepting a version of her identity that served someone else. This added even more tension around Towanda, whose reaction to Michael's comment now seemed like the epicenter of the storm. People replayed her old interviews, analyzed her expressions, scrutinized every avoided question, convinced that her emotional outburst had revealed more than any official statement ever could. The scandal shifted into a broader discussion about the pressure public families face and how far they'll go to maintain a perfect image. And just as the conversation reached its peak, New rumors emerged, suggesting even more revelations might surface, including alleged messages or conversations that could explain why Ashley's story was kept distant for so long. Whether those rumors were true no longer mattered. The damage was done, and the public now believed this was bigger than a misunderstanding. The anticipation grew heavier by the hour as people waited to see whether anyone in the family would finally speak honestly, or whether the truth would remain buried behind the same silence that protected it for so many years. And now, with every piece of this puzzle laid out, only one question remains: what happens next? And who will finally step forward to tell the truth without fear or hesitation? Stories like this don't fade quietly. They grow louder until someone decides silence is no longer an option. So before this situation takes its next unpredictable turn, I want to hear from you. Do you think the truth is finally breaking through? Or is there still another layer waiting to be exposed? Should the family address the rumors directly? Or has the time for explanations already passed? Drop your theories, your opinions, and your predictions in the comments. And tell me what you believe is really happening behind the scenes. And if you want more investigations like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay alert. Because the next revelation could drop at any moment.